Before we begin today, let's clear up a few things. Now, there is some rumours circulating that I don't know how to film things on a cell phone, because last week I showed a little bit of some stuff that I'd been filming at SGC, and it was filmed vertically on my phone. Now, only an idiot would spend an entire weekend filming vertically without thinking about what he's doing, hoping to use that footage as extra footage when Jimquisition Live is finally uploaded, only to realise his mistake after he looked back at the footage and found out he fucked up and ended up using a bit of it anyway and just hoping he could get away with it, and then finding out that he couldn't get away with it at all. Only an idiot, okay, would do that. And Jim Sterling isn't an idiot, is he? No. Last time I checked, he's a fucking genius. So the only conclusion all of you can and will come up with is that I did it on purpose. Jim Sterling clearly did it on purpose because it's a style. It's a style, okay? I'm bringing it back. I'm fucking bringing it back. That's right, you heard me. I'm bringing it back, okay? This is a style. It's a style that I'm doing. I'm doing this. This is good. What's happening? Okay, it's retro or something. It's good. I'm not an idiot. I don't make mistakes. I don't make mistakes. It's no secret nor startling revelation that Atari has well and truly fallen. The once king of the game industry, so influential it damn near killed the whole market once, Atari has suffered the kind of slow and painful degradation normally reserved for characters in a George R.R. Martin story. The company that gave us classics and genre definers like Alone in the Dark has gone through bankruptcy, critical mauling, and enough dents in its reputation to where they could probably hire Charles Manson as head of marketing and not do themselves much harm. This is all known. We know Atari as a name is mud. However, the names associated with Atari still have, or at least had, pull, and ever since the company's re-emergence from bankruptcy in 2013, it's plundered those names with reckless, shameless abandon in a horrible little event I've taken to calling the Great Atari Ransack. Lately, it appears as if Atari is going through its back catalogue of well-known properties and systematically doing all it can to utterly fucking destroy them. The Ransack began with Haunted House, selling itself as a game inspired by the classic Atari hit of the same name. Cryptic Graves bears absolutely no fucking similarity to the 1982 game from which its moniker is so gallingly pilfered. Hiring the fuck-awful Dream Painters Interactive to produce what is essentially yet another broken first-person indie horror game, as if we need more of them. The same kind of low-quality, jump-scare-laden, glitchy, buggy fuckfest we've got a dime a dozen of on Steam now. Cryptic Graves looks like it was made over 15 years ago and is so broken my copy actually became unplayable in less than 90 minutes as save files became corrupted and doors that were supposed to open simply didn't. I actually had to quit and reload the game at one point to get a door to randomly open instead of stay randomly closed. When you see this horrific mess in action, it looks like one of the thousands of Amnesia rip-offs that utterly pollute the horror market these days. But this is an alleged top-tier product carrying a prestigious name reduced to the stakes of bottom-feeding trash. The next victim was Asteroids. Now, who doesn't know Asteroids? A quintessential shoot-'em-up, you're a little ship shooting at asteroids that break apart. Beauty and simplicity, a retro classic, you can't go wrong with an updated version of that, can ya? I mean, you'd have to be a real jizz donkey to take something like Asteroids and fuck it up, wouldn't ya? Presenting Exhibit B for the jury, where Atari fucked up Asteroids. What is Asteroids Outpost? Well, it ain't fucking Asteroids. Like Haunted House, it appears to be chasing yet another indie game fad and doing an absolutely terrible job of it. This time glomming onto the whole survival crafting craze with this barren monstrosity. They want $30 for it, it's in early access, and it fucking sucks. You remember that shitty asteroid shooting segment from the first Dead Space? Yeah, it's that, intermingled with a stripped-down version of first-person survival games as you blast at asteroids, go out to harvest ore from them, and then build shit out of the materials. The game itself, designed entirely for an online MMO experience, has failed out the gate because it's dead. Nobody plays it. I struggled to find an open server, and when I did, it was bereft of other life, and it was shit and boring and really, really shit. Asteroids in name only, and shit. Which brings us to the third and currently latest target of the Great Ransack, Alone in the Dark. Credited as the codifier of the survival horror genre, Alone in the Dark's name and pedigree are without question. Yes, it hasn't had a great run in more modern years, but whatever you want to say about Eden Games' frankly rubbish Alone in the Dark reboot, it at least tried. you know? It tried to be a good horror game. Alone in the Dark illumination, an insulting abomination of an unpolished pile of wank slopped out by Atari earlier this year, hasn't tried to do, well, anything. And just like our other victims, it's yet another game that desperately ignores the source material in order to chase a popular genre that its namesake has nothing to do with. This time, co-op third-person shooting. Co-op third-person shooting in which you need to shine bright lights everywhere to fight the generic zombie monsters that pile in and attack you through walls. Yes, that's right, this is an Alone in the Dark game in which you're neither alone nor in the dark. Only fucking Atari and the cowboy developers it brings in could be so fucking incompetent as to make an Alone in the Dark game about being surrounded in brightness. The game is also pathetically unfinished. Sound effects are clear placeholders or sometimes even missing, animations are wonky as hell, the visuals overall are hideous to behold, the single player, which is essential because nobody else is playing it obviously, hasn't been balanced for solo players and is therefore practically impossible on any difficulty other than easy. It's a wretchedly unpolished, limp, quiet, alienating little shooter that any decent publisher would and should be fucking ashamed of. It stole Alan Wake's combat and everything else from other better co-op shooters and did nothing with them. Easily one of the very worst games of the year, and like Atari's other disasters, it has nothing to do with the name it cynically exploits. But that's modern Atari for you. These games have torn the faces off classic franchises and now wear them like ghoulish masks, making a crude and morbid mockery of the entertainment they're dressed as. They come to the audience bearing familiar names with a promise and expectation of quality and deliver half-hearted and blatantly unfinished products farmed out to inferior developers. I mean, for fuck's sake, pure FPS made the last Alone in the Dark. Pure FPS! The studio that developed fucking Recoil before it changed its name from Plastic Piranha. Recoil! That ice cream cone of cold spunk. That's the developer the rights holders of Alone in the Dark looked at and said, yep, these guys will bring our survival horror series into the 21st century, presumably before shitting into their own hands and smearing it all over their lips and nipples. Of course, these modern reimaginings of games are little more than a ghastly reflection of the company itself. The Atari that exists today is a hollowed out corpse worn by Infogrames, which bought up the company and all its IP, and subsequently enjoyed its own cavalcade of financial difficulties in the late thousands. Then, in 2009, the company changed its entire name to Atari. In a grim foretelling, Infogrames' financial reports noted this of the name change: "This decision will enable us to make the best use of the Atari brand, capitalizing on worldwide strong name recognition and affinity." And boy, did Infogrames start capitalizing on that name recognition, huh? Capitalizing and cashing in on all that brand affinity like a kid who won 50 tickets at Chuck E. Cheese and stops there to get the pencil sharpener. Who knows what else the modern reanimated corpse that goes by the name of Atari still has cooking in its back pocket? Who knows what the next victim of the Great Atari Ransack will be? All I know for sure is that it's fucking disgusting, and what's been going on with what's left of that company's name is unforgivable. Atari's name is dirt, and whoever's keeping it going now is apparently doing all it can to make sure everything else associated with it becomes dirt as well. These games are fucking Venus flytraps, masking themselves in the scent of well-known, sometimes beloved game franchise names in order to lure folk in. You'd have to be called Randy Pitchford to be any less honest. In any case, Atari needs to fuck off. Not only is it doing lasting damage to the game titles themselves, it's stuff like this that further contributes to the overall erosion of trust and customer resentment in the games industry overall. It's contributing to a saturation in genres that already struggle with an overabundance of cheap cash-ins and rip-offs, making it even harder for the genuine, sincere developers of horror games, survival games and co-op shooters to garner the goodwill and attention they fucking need. To see series that were once innovators and market leaders in their respective genres now pathetically, cloyingly twisting themselves to fit in with an increasingly desperate gold rush of slapdash Me Too releases is just pitiful. It's undignified, and anybody who has a hand in it should be absolutely thoroughly ashamed of themselves. But that's the sickest part. Atari clearly has no shame. It lost the last fucks it could give years ago along with all its money. It emerged from its bankruptcy as little more than a shell, and given its financial problems, it's most likely just dumping what it can and grabbing what it can before the doors close forever. And its behaviour is something not even Steam refunds and the like can solve. Refunds are a band-aid for a repeated pattern of behaviour on this scale. Behaviour that ultimately affects the industry overall with its saturation and breeding of negativity. So I say this to the great ransackers of video games: fuck you, Atari, you irresponsible, intellectually dishonest, unabashed con merchants. How do you spoil Final Fantasy VII? How am I getting in trouble for spoiling a game that was released in 1998 using an iconic scene that everyone fucking knows about by now? Do you not even know who Luke Skywalker's father is at this point? I didn't spoil nothing! I don't make mistakes! I don't make mistakes! You make mistakes. Everyone else makes mistakes, and I'm here to correct them, because that's what I do. Because I am the correction officer of the world, basically. I don't make mistakes, okay? I fix them. I re-educate you, which is why you put your faith in me now, which is why you put yourself in my hands and let Daddy take care of you. Let me take care of you and be so very, very grateful for it. And when I'm done, when I've remoulded you, broken you, and reshaped you into my graven image, you will all thank God for me. I don't make mistakes.